Good morning. Last month I was invited to a wedding. Well, I was invited to this wedding a while ago, and initially I refused because I knew that would be something that I don't agree, I don't share the same value. So a wealthy family, I knew there would be like so much waste of money, and I didn't want to be part of it. That was my partner niece, and I was invited as well with her. As the time passed, I kind of like felt that, okay, it's true, I was interested in this wedding, but I could use that to actually explore Istanbul, because the wedding was set in Turkey, in Istanbul, like the future husband, that now is husband, is Turkish, so they were planning to get married over there. I think they got married first in Hong Kong, where she lives, and then this year they were married in Istanbul. So I thought, considering that my partner really wanted me to go, and that she'd been asking so many times for me to go to this wedding, I finally decided to go. It would have been, as I said, a good opportunity to explore this city, and that I never been before. So I did go at the end, and Istanbul really surprised me. It's an interesting city, really fascinating, and made me wanted to actually go back again. So at the end was good. Was good that I accepted. Now, before I start to talk about the good things, I want to talk about the things that I was expecting, and I wasn't happy about it, and that it obviously is just reflect how our society is such a mess. No bad coffee. So as I said, the reason why I didn't want to go is because I knew that I would not share a single bit of this wedding. First, because the kind of people I was going to, do you say mingle? I don't know if it's the right word. I was going to be part of, as absolutely like a different different value of me. They are absolutely at the opposite, and that was the reason why I wasn't interested. It shows all at the wedding time. I mean, this celebration that I can understand. The celebration of two people that love each other and they wants to show it to everyone. And obviously it comes from cultural background, societal conditioning maybe, and so on. So that's fine. I mean, every culture has it. It's not even like showing their love, but just making more, yeah, probably that was the wrong term. It's making everyone part of their joy. But that it can be done with a nice picnic where everybody brings their own food and drinks, and you just laugh and play. you don't need to spend more than £100,000 for a wedding. Is a showing off of wealth, and is a slap in the face for all the people that are starving and dying on a daily basis. But that's the problem of our society, right? Few that has too much, spending money in a way, in a really stupid way, and the billions that has nothing, or later they struggle month by month. It's not their fault. It's not their fault. I know the ego wants to say yes, it's their fault, because they want to make you think that I am better than them. It's not. They have been probably raised in that kind of environment with that kind of wealth. It's for them is the most normal thing. For them there is probably like nothing wrong, and even if they know that there is something wrong, they are used to, they don't understand it. So it's very hard, to blame someone that doesn't even most of the time doesn't even realize what he's doing, because it's just their reality, and for them is the most normal thing. So obviously I'm not blaming them for for life circumstances to raise them in that way. And obviously I'm not better than them because I have a more simplistic lifestyle. That obviously doesn't mean I'm doing great, because I'm sure that I'm wasting more than I should. So actually, for sure, I'm wasting things that I could not waste. That's that I think that what I think is that is not actually bad to do, but even that is, comes from probably from the reality I grew up thinking that is normal. And so again, can I blame myself to do things that I think to be normal, but in reality is actually a waste of money, resources? No, because I've been raised and indoctrinated in this way, and I'm sure for many things I'm doing wrong. I don't even realize that I'm doing wrong. So that's why what I'm saying, as painful that can be, because obviously when someone makes you suffer, it's horrible. But at the end of the day, no one is bad and no one is good. We are just the result of some strange lottery circumstances that got us where we are. But what I want to say, to go back to that, I did not share that value. I was there for only 3 days, and 1 day and a half was focused on this wedding, probably 1 day, and then we had a couple of days, 1 day and a half. Look, let's say 1.5 for the wedding, 1.5 for exploring the city. And I was really impressed. I mean, it's a big city, way too much big, with, as every big city is. But it has its own charm. It's not a city as like many modern ones, with full of soulless, horrible buildings, skyscrapers and condominium. Like, for example, like I come from Italy. Like, everybody talks about the Italian beauty, but the Italian beauty is always about the old towns, that they retain the beautiful soul. Because if you go to see the modern Italian towns, or any towns built in this center, shit. It's depressing. It's horrible. It's a bunch of fucking building built with no sense of beauty. So, what is beautiful about Italy? It's beautiful, those all nice little village coming from the 1500, 1600, 1700 that it was built with the beauty in mind. So, Istanbul, majority, at least for what I could see, what I could see in those days, it's all basically a sort of a huge, immense old town built on hills, like a huge Amalfi Coast with houses on the side of those hills going, jumping into the sea, while it small, narrow road or narrow walking path or narrow hidden paths everywhere. And the fact that is on basically all the cities built on hills, like to anywhere you are, you have the view of the city, of the sea, and it's really, really beautiful, fascinating. They are mainly Muslim, but it's melting pot of religions and cultures at the end. I mean, a lot of Christians, churches, Jewish, Muslim. So it's feel like it's mixed quite well. I only know like just a little about what happened in the recent history, but from what I can see, it feels like staying still kind of like a very well mixed, peacefully living together religions and cultures, with Islam being the main or the biggest. But even on that, you have like in every religion, you have a more extreme, more conservative, and more liberal, more relaxed, and so on. Obviously there was a nice weather, and I'm not gonna get into I'm not gonna get into weather modifications programs and the chemtrails. Let's say that they were there. They were there, and just they wanted a nice weather for the days. So the nice weather and sunny days made it even more beautiful. Like what I found really interesting, it was that it felt like a mix of times, with a bit more modern, but then there was part of the city, or at least some of the neighborhood I had the chance to visit, where I felt was stuck in the past, and it was really nice, because you had on one side you had those modern cafes, bars, shops, and then on the other side you had those very old houses with like very old shops that you made you feel to be back maybe at the beginning of the centuries or in the 50s, 60s. So it was really this contrast, from jumping from one era to another era. It was just, I found it fascinating. So something that I noticed is that obviously are there like everywhere, but are not massively used in a zombie way as we can see it in some of the Western countries. I mean, I barely seen people walking on the street like a zombie, texting, messaging, watching bullshit while walking. I barely seen most of the people I seen like maybe just sitting, talking, or standing and talking, and just with not even the phone on their hands, or if they had it, they were not looking. So, like literally, I felt to be again back to before the smartphones, where people used to interact and connect and evolving. I'm not against obviously technology. I mean, smartphone is an amazing invention that I don't know if they put it there as the internet as a tool of control initially. It became later. It becoming now. But obviously, I am very grateful for that. You know, I can talk every day with my mom. I can check live what's going on and so on. But it's just that the way control was lost. I don't know if it was all programmed so that we would end up in this way. But I live in London, and honestly, walking around in the streets, it's now really feel to be in a zombie land. People don't look at you. People don't look at anything. They're just inside the screen, like in a so fucked up way. I work in coffee. I love coffee. I love working in the coffee industry. I fell in love with this industry for the human interaction you had, for the human interaction that people used to have inside the shops. And then now you see a bunch of 20 people waiting for coffee and like a fucking zombie on their phone. They don't talk to each other. They don't even know who is the other next to them. And maybe they're coming, you know, and many of them, they're coming every single day. Before, they would become friends at some point. Now they don't even know if there's someone next to them because they come, they order the coffee, and then they go back inside. It's so depressing. So, for what I could see in Istanbul, that's not happening over there. Like literally, people sit and talk and play, and you just talk and talk and talk and talk, like it used to be. That was honestly, it was like fresh air. So definitely that really made me feel happier. Obviously, working coffee, I went to explore the coffee scene, the local coffee scene, and you know it's like now everywhere. It's like now everywhere. Specialty coffee shops are popping up, and it's easier than ever to find a good cafe, and in the big city it's easier now. Almost every big city has specialty coffee shops. Up to like maybe 10 years ago it would have been impossible. But what I was curious was if in Turkey it's very famous this coffee tool called cetsbe. It's basically a small copper pot where you put extremely fine coffee ground and you boil it with water, and then you pour it in a cup, not letting the coffee ground getting into it, and you drink this really strong cup of coffee that normally they with that they had like spices or sweet things to make it less bitter. So every coffee shop, like even specialty coffee shops, has it. I don't know if it locals you order it, if it's like a normal order, uh, but I like everyone has it, so I order it, and well, and I guess the locals does order it, does drink it in cafes. Otherwise, obviously, coffee shop would not have it. And this is something that I like it because, I mean, I come from Italy, and obviously it's different dynamics, but we grew up drinking coffee from mocha pot, or call it stovetop, and but like coffee shop obviously don't have it. All they have it's espresso, and I think that having that, living in a land where that coffee brewer was part of our you know community. I think it would have been really beautiful to have it, to offer it, and this is something that honestly I don't think it's happening, but that Italian specialty coffee shops now they should have. Here in London, there is only one coffee shop that offered that, and I think it's a really great touch and unique because no one does. When I lived in Thailand, I mean, I go back in Thailand quite often, and there is a cafe called Mocha Mania, and they only make coffee with mocha pods. And I like it because it's just unique. It's different, than anywhere else. Because it's great what's happening in the specialty coffee scene, where you can now drink coffee all around the world. But at the end of the day, they basically copy and paste each other. Like what they really have different from everybody else, nothing. Yeah, they all do maybe a good espresso, a good filter, but what's the difference? Yeah, the design of the shop. But at the end of the day, I could close my eyes, have a coffee in Istanbul, or have a coffee in Italy, or have a coffee in Japan and Thailand, and in those specialty coffee shops, and they're all the same. I could be everywhere. I could be in Japan in a specialty coffee shop, but at the end of but in reality, maybe closing my eyes, I could feel that I'm actually in London. So it's great, the coffee quality improving, but at the same time, there is a need of, to develop a unique trait. I mean, some coffee shop does. There are cafe where they sell books, or there are coffee shops where they're focused on the community. So it's not just coffee, but even a space for the community to meet, engage with events, and so on. So there are cafes that they're trying to obviously make coffee great, but at the same time being different and not just becoming like everyone else. So definitely the chats for touch in those cafes is beautiful. But apart that, they just copy and paste, just different architecture, but good coffee. So that's, I mean, the video was to praise that, the quality and of those cafes in Istanbul, but it became like a bit of a run. But anyway, there are many good coffee shops. I didn't have the time to explore all of them, but there is so many cafes. The other things that I was actually going to complain about is the usual things about this, the so-called bullshit border and passport and bloody so on to divide culture and people. So one of the things that you will always hear about Istanbul is that it's divided by the sea, or by a big river that then goes into the sea. they're always gonna tell you that it basically divides Istanbul in Europe and Asia. Now, as I mentioned even in an article I wrote for Coffee Magazine, it's all bullshit, it's all words, it's all a human made up bullshit to kind of like say, oh, you are different than the authors are different than you. And that's why they emphasize so much on the between Europe and Asia. What the fuck it means? Nothing. Yeah, culturally, okay, yes, like that's what we define Asians, and culture what we define Europe, but that's definition. It's just a label to divide populations, like, oh, they are Asians, they have a or Middle Eastern, and you are European. So that river, that sea in Istanbul doesn't divide anything. It divided just two lands. The lands belongs to everyone. The lands is the same everywhere. Europe, Asia, Africa, they're just fucking made up names to create simply separation. The continents, the culture, we are one race, humans. The land is the same. Borders and passport was created with only one reason: to keep the cattle, the animals, inside imaginary cage, and to control them, because that's what they treat us. They treat us as animals, where they made us believe it. This is even more crazy things about all of this. You can make people believe any kind of bullshit as long as you tell them since they're little. And then we've been told this story that we have a border, that we need the passport. Yeah, I have one. I've been not given fucking choice. And I can't cross a line where it's required a passport if I don't show a passport, or if I don't have a visa. What the fuck it means? Right now in a garden, and if all of a sudden we decided that this garden is divided in south and north, and I cannot cross the north without a visa, it's the same fucking concept. And I don't know how to make people eventually understand this and stop believing to this border and passport bullshit. But that's what it is. Istanbul is not divided between Europe and Asia. Istanbul is divided by a sea that divides two lands that is the same from one side to the other side. And we are all the same. Now, people at the end of the day doesn't really give a shit about what you believe or how you dress based on what you believe. Again, that hate or judgment towards something different is not natural. That's I strongly believe it. It's created. You need to teach someone or make them believe through circumstances that you can just create so that you can make those people hating someone else. So it's created. It's not natural. People that want just to live their life, if they've left to enjoy their life and given all they need, they don't care if you are a Christian, a Muslim, a Jewish, a Buddhist, and whatever the religion is, their Scientology. They don't care. They start to care when you push them to the limits. You start to take things away from them. They start to suffer and struggle, and then you start to tell them that it's because of that people. And that's when you push them to believe a story that is not true. as the borders, as the visas, as the passport, and all those other crap. So Istanbul, it's definitely an interesting city. You will see a lot of cats. So I've done some research, and the cats, it's kind of like an important animal for Muslim. It's respected, and it's believed that if you look after them, they're gonna bring you luck or something like that. So in Istanbul, you will see these cats are everywhere, and people feed them. You know, build even like little houses on a daily basis. Put food on the street for the cats. So cats is everywhere. That's another really interesting things. But anyway, I think I touched all the points that I wanted to touch. It's worth it to visit. It's worth it to explore. The other things I really loved was going in those very old like neighborhood. Apart the people, the old and young people in what I think is like cafes playing cards like full. The kids playing on the street, like when I was a kid, like so many kids playing in the street with some parents on the window checking, and they're just roaming around like when I was a kid. I found it so beautiful. Like I don't see this in London. It's not safe. You can't leave kids on the street. But there was some of those neighborhoods, like it was full of kids all on the street playing. And that I love that. It really makes me feel so much better seeing something like this. So yeah, I just want to go back and see more, understand more about people in Istanbul, maybe exploring more of Turkey, and that's it. I think there is no more. I'm just gonna have a breakfast and then go to work. Have a nice day.